Hello, people of YouTube. I haven't made a video in a while, but I am gonna be playing, playing catch up now. So I'm gonna start off where we left off with my last video. I'm gonna finish by finishing my first month of Dragon Ball Z / comic book reviews. The comics I'm gonna be reviewing today are Grayson number 7 and Batman and Robin issue number 39. And the episode I am reviewing today, I'm looking just to make sure I get the name right. Goku's new... Welcome back, Goku. Confessions of the Mysterious Youth Trunks. I'll start with the episode. It was a really good episode. I like the scenes of sparring between Trunks and Goku. I thought that was really neat and fun to watch. And I also really like the origins and the storytelling of what happens to the Z fighters. And I just thought it was a really entertaining episode. It was a pretty good episode. I'll just sit it on it. And then I will start with the Grayson review. But this is a very good comic. What happens in the comic, there are potential spoilers in here. I highly recommend reading this book if you want to pause the video, quickly read the book, and then watch this video, or whatever. This is a good comic. I especially like how they actually incorporated Bible stuff into this comic, and I thought it was really neat because while they are fighting in the Fist of Cain, and some background information, throughout like the first story arc in Grayson, they've been collecting like these super organs that have all kinds of super different abilities. But this is the last one, what is the super brain, what causes people to just become like instantly angry. And the main bad guys of the comic are this organization called the Fist of Cain. And they go undercover as a band and cause this big riot at like this festival / concert thing. What leads to a big fight, but meanwhile the fight begins. Grayson has recently been captured by the organization that Midnighter works for. And he has to, this is where the Bible stuff comes in. He is talking to the head of Midnighter's agency. And it actually talks a lot about forgiveness and how we're not supposed to cast judgment and stuff like that. What I really enjoyed. well, I'm not gonna go too in depth with it because I really enjoyed it, and I think it was definitely my most favorite part of the book, so I wouldn't necessarily want to give too much of that away. But I loved this issue. It was a very good, solid issue, and I really liked the Grayson comic book title, just because, like, you get the feeling of a superhero comic, and, it's like a superhero comic book, but it also has a feel of like an old James Bond film at times. I really like the James Bond films also. So it was a great issue. It was. And then I'm down to my last comic book. That I'll be reviewing. Batman and Robin issue number 39. Something that I really enjoyed is like the homage they pay to Action Comics number 1 in the cover. If you look at this cover really close, and then you go and look at the cover for Action Comics number 1, the debut of Superman, it is drawn with different stuff in it, but like the setup is pretty close to the same cover as Action Comics number 1. But that kind of little hint thing I thought was really cool and really neat. And what I think I really enjoyed this comic. It actually starts with Damian Wayne using his new superpowers to kind of strike fear into a few of Batman's villains. He doesn't necessarily hurt them, but he does threaten them. Batman ends up having to save the villain because Damian loses his grip on the rope that he's like holding them up with. You get to see this nice bonding, heartwarming conversation with Bruce Wayne and Damian Wayne. They're fishing, and Damian Wayne's asking about his powers, and I just thought it was really nice, and that conversation ended really nicely. Then there was this one thing that made me laugh. They had to catch at least one fish before they came back. So Damian Wayne actually flies underneath the water, picks up the boat, and skewers a fish with the fishing pole, and I just thought that was really, really funny. And then then there was this something going on with the Justice League, and Damian was allowed to go with Batman, and then there's some really funny stuff with Damian Wayne meets Shazam, and their conversation, it was hard to read just because it made me laugh really hard, just because you could tell Shazam was being kind of childish, but Damian was being really grown up in his side of the conversation. And just those two points bouncing off of each other was just hilarious. I also really enjoyed this issue. It's actually one of my most favorite comics that I've honestly read in a pretty long time. And the verse that I'm gonna quote today is John 3:17. I'm gonna do the King James version. God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that through him the world shall be saved. And this was my last Dragon Ball review until I do this mini-series coming up where I'm going to be reviewing the Android Saga and Forever Evil. So with that being said, may God be with you and see you next time. Hello people of YouTube, Religious Fanboy here. I've decided to make 2 new series for my YouTube channel. Fanboy Theater, episode 1 is gonna be this video. And the other series, along with my original content, what are the comic reviews, I am going to do an anime review series called The Church Cat Bus. But if you've seen My Neighbor Totoro, you kind of would get where I get the idea for the cat bus. And I highly recommend that movie. And we're doing something that I'm adding just new to my videos for the first time in this video, is something that I like to call 5 random Bible verses. What we're gonna read, I'm gonna read Bible verses 1 through 5 of Psalms chapter 50. God the Lord God speaks. He summons the earth from east to west, from Zion, the perfection of beauty. God appears in the radiance. Our God is coming. He will not be silent. The devouring fire precedes him, and the storm rages around him. On high, he summons heaven and earth in order to judge his people. Gather my faith ones to me, those who made covenant with me by sacrifice. My first movie review is actually the newest DC animated film, Justice League Gods and Monsters, made by Bruce Timm. Well, this is a Justice League that is not at all like the one that we're used to. Well, I really like the kind of message it has and the lesson that is learned here. What the main plot is, the Justice League are being framed for the deaths of scientists. And while that is going on, there is like a subplot, major plot about how the Justice League are thinking that they are above the law, because this Justice League are when they're not like the ones that we're used to, I mean, they are basically extremely violent. and not hesitant to kill people, but they do learn a lesson. What I think is really good how that is shown when Superman asks Batman in the end of the movie, how about we become a legitimate team and actually go out on patrol and stop killing. What I thought was just really nice, just because I'm really happy that they learned a lesson and it was told very well. What there is a surprise twist in who's the person that is making these robots that are used to frame the Justice League. But I am not gonna give that away because that is a really good thing. And the setting and stuff like that. I really like this because it actually reminds me of the main graphic novel that this reminds me of is actually Dark Knight Returns. What with like the newscasting and like the gray area with the justice system and everything. Well, I just think that those kind of things make for a cool aspect of a good story. And it kind of makes the heroes kind of more gray and not just black and white. What I think makes the story more interesting because it actually makes the viewer or the reader have to think. Instead of just knowing like, he's a hero, he's a villain, they're gonna fight. And that is all for this video. May God be with you, and see you next time. Hello people of YouTube. Thank you so much for being, thank you to my subscribers for sticking with me for my first whole year of YouTube. Our channel, even though it's not as big as I wanted to be by my first year, I am still surprised with how well it's turned out for my first year on YouTube. I currently have 19 subscribers and 249 views. All my videos put together. Thank you for putting up with me re-uploading stuff. I do appreciate no one unsubscribing. And thank you to you guys who are like follow my channel every week, and like those who have watched every episode on my channel, because there are some of you that I've actually talked to, and there was one of you guys that I hang out with that said they actually they on Saturday and they've watched all of my videos, and I'm just really appreciative of that. And since I've started doing the random 5 Bible verses to celebrate it being a 1-year video, I am gonna read 10 random Bible verses. And I'll try to find the start of a chapter. Today we'll read in my new King James version Psalms 78, 1 through 10. Actually, we'll just do 1 through 5 right now, just for sake of time. Give ear, O my people, to my law. Incline your ears to the words of the mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old, which we have heard and known, and our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from their children, telling the generation to come the praises of the Lord and his strength and his wonderful works that he has done. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers that they should make them know their children. Now I'm going to talk about some of the upcoming videos, and there are going to be more videos to celebrate 1 year on YouTube, what I will be doing annually. Like, next week I'll be uploading a year-long binge watch. What will be every single video that I have uploaded this year. What we'll do it in kind of backwards thing. Starting with this video and going all the way back to the very first video. And then I will be doing and then I'll try to, well, I might not be able to do this, but with editing, hopefully, I'll be able to do a video of every time I've read or quoted a Bible verse this year. So those, well, for the first one that I said for sure will be the next video I upload. And then I'm doing a trailer for my first ever 3-parter on politically correct ministry, and parts 1, 2, and 3 will come out in, I will upload hopefully in March. I might upload one for the last week in February. Last week in January. Actually, probably part 1 comes out 3rd week in February. And just thanks again for all the views and the subscriber number that we have. And also for number 1 month part 2. If you look up Quentin Packer on Facebook, you can see where I've posted those. And I kind of want permissions first before I go ahead and review those. So as soon as I get the stuff with permissions all figured out, then I will get those reviews out soon after, hopefully. And with that being said, may God be with you, and see you next time. there was one day when I was walking back from one of my merit badge classes back to the campsite, and it just started pouring down rain. And I was wearing glasses and everything, and the water was coming down at an angle, so it was basically hitting me right in the eyes and the glasses and everything. So I could barely see anything. And while I was walking, I was still trying to get back to camp, but I knew I couldn't make it back there, so while I was walking, I prayed and asked for there to be a shelter that I could stop and sit by and sit under for until the rain stopped. And then as I was alone, after walking a little bit longer after I finished the prayer, I found this weird entrance into a woodsy area that was like a paved trail, and it led to the camp chapel. So I walked into the chapel and sat down in the very front row. And then I looked up, and this is how I knew it was a chapel. When I looked up and saw the roof, I saw a wooden cross suspended from the roof. And that's also the moment that I knew that was an act of God that I found that place. Just seeing that cross reconciling at the table, a woman came with an alabaster jar of pure and expensive fragrant oil of nard. She broke the jar and poured it on his head, but some were expressing indignation. I'm sorry, some of these words I can't pronounce. To one another, why has his fragrant oil been wasted? For this oil might have been sold for more than 300 denarii